Hey everybody, and welcome back to an episode of AyJay's Therapist Corner. I am AyJay, and I wanna just go right ahead and jump right on into it. So, who has the first question?
I'll go first.
All right, what's the question for the therapist?
How do you know when you're done with therapy?
At the beginning of therapy, we always tell our clients that therapy is not forever, even though it's not slap a Band-Aid on it and keep it going. You're always going with discharge in mind. So you know when you're done, when the goals that you and the therapist set together are fulfilled. So as you go along and you're working with your therapist, there's moments in where they'll take a session just to ask you, how do you feel your progress is going? What things do you feel that you've achieved so far? What things do you feel that it's not easier to manage, but what things that you feel you've gotten better at, and what things do we still need to work on moving forward? So that way you're always in the thought of, it's not a rush to finish, but at least you know this time is coming. Now, if you do use your insurance and they say, hey, you have this number of sessions, unfortunately, whether you're ready or not,
that's the end.
Right,
that's the end. So, but when you know you're absolutely done with therapy for this part in time in your life, is when you're able to look at what you said you wanted to achieve and how well and how you've achieved it.
So, with that said, is it okay to like, hey, I know we've been able to get through this issue, but I have another issue after this.
Well, you don't deal with one issue at a time. You hey, I'm dealing with these things.
Yeah, but like after you've completed that, and then you realize, oh wait, I have something else I need to work through.
That is the disdain of a therapist's life. It's like, perfect example, right? So we're on the phone with each other. So say we're on the phone with each other, and I say, hey, I'm about to hang up. And then the last few minutes of us about to hang up, you tell, hey, so let me tell you about this and this and that. I'm sorry, what? Like, I have to deal with that now? Okay, so now we have to say, well, let's table that for next time. Or if you're about to discharge and you say, okay, but my dad just died. Can we deal with that? But
that wasn't on the plan.
But when did
you just spent a whole hour?
Like we're talking about discharge, and we're talking about, hey, you've done so well, you've made these strides. But also a therapist can kind of be in touch with. A therapist also won't just let you terminate therapy won't terminate therapy with you unless you say, I just don't want to come back no more. Right. Or you're just saying that you feel that it's less efficient anymore. But then they'll question that. Is it you and your trauma responses, you and your filters to, I don't want to address the uncomfortable? Then they'll challenge that if they're paying attention. But also a therapist will tell you, hey, I don't know, sis. I don't know, sir. It seems you're still
struggling.
It seems you're still having a struggle with differentiating how you feel versus what's happening. So they'll call you out on it if they do their job right.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good question. Good job.
I had a question of how do you maintain being realistic about the kind of world that we live in when doing therapy with people?
Oh, you're asking me how do I remain realistic?
I mean, in general, like with like therapists, like if we are honest, we are living in a very much capitalistic ruled world.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people are burnt out, tired, and
broke.
And like that's just the reality of things.
That's a therapist for you.
Correct.
We are overworked, underpaid, and they don't consider us to be first responders. They don't consider us in the same light as doctors, but they keep talking about they need us. So that's part of the reason we're so realistic, but also in understanding that the world around us shapes and molds who we are. And we have to stay in tune and in touch with who we are as people and as humans, and understand that we don't have it all, and that we don't always have all the answers. So specifically for me, in making sure that I stay as realistic as possible, is understanding, one, as a Black woman in America, can't get any lower than that. So when I'm doing therapy with other people, I keep in mind that I'm human first, therapist second. So if I have 1,000,001 things going on, I know other people do too. So you would think that would be a long-winded answer, but no, like, therapists are overworked, underpaid. So that's realistic as it is.
Yeah.
They don't consider us or see us in the same light as a doctor, even though what you go through mentally affects everything physically.
So how do you maintain to continue to give hope when there is no hope to give?
That's a good question. For the most part, we just remember that everybody is coming from some sort of hurt trauma response place, no matter how big or small the trauma response is. And then we remember that the same grace that we have to give ourselves, we have to give to other people.
I feel like sometimes it's the other way around, at least in remembering.
Yeah, we have this thing called imposter syndrome too, where we forget that we are human and that we're allowed to make mistakes because we're having to show up for so many people at a time. So yeah, it does get a little hard to do. It's not to say that it's easy by any means. But as a therapist myself, I've recently had to like check in with myself, because I have felt like this is too much. Like I don't have it to give. And sometimes it's okay to walk away, to give yourself that space, to then come back and then be able to give that hope to other people. So, yeah, those were great questions. Damn, now I'm be thinking about that all day. But this has been another episode of AyJay's Therapist Corner. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts to share, send them on over to codeswitchingpod or our email codeswitchnaturally@gmail.com. And until next time, bye.
Bye.